What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show, brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my very handsome co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Joey Wright. What's up, boys?
I was first today.
Doing good. Had a good weekend. Yeah.
Joey was personally insulted that he wasn't first today, especially with the handsome qualifier as the adjective. Well, guys, adding to the handsome squad, we have one of our great friends and earliest friends in this industry, Rick Budge, joining the show. For those of you that do not know him, you can find him on Twitter at RotoHeatRick, and he is the founder of RotoHeat.com, the man doing everything to keep it going over there. Rick, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today, my friend. It's always a treat getting to hang out with you.
Hey, thanks for allowing me to come on. I say it every time. This is one of the funnest things in the industry. I love coming on here and hanging out with you guys and playing some games and getting some shots in too, whether it's at me or throwing a couple back at you guys.
I love getting bullied.
My favorite thing about Front Yard Fantasy is showing up at 3 p.m. on a Monday to get bullied by my friend.
Yes.
Oh, and I say it every time you come on, but I have to promote it each and every time. If you're out here and you enjoy this show and you have not watched the Roto Heat X FYF Poll Perception Battle Royale mega show that we did on our channel and the Roto Heat YouTube channel, you should go give it a watch. It is absolutely absurd. There were 10 people on the screen. We had 5 teams going head to head. It was
Craig
phenomenal.
Just hit me up on Friday asking if we could do another one of those. We got to do that.
I was going to say, he hit me up after I said I was taking a break, and he said, if I can get this show put together with FYF, would you still do that even if you're on break? And I said, hell yeah, I would.
Let's go. We'll have to figure it out.
Baby. 2.0, y'all. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Speaking of the devil, Craig down here said cover photo today. Jail is looking sad, and Justin Fields is also there. Rick must be on the show.
I wish you guys could see the background better because it's all Justin. It's basically all Justin back there.
And JL's up there frowning. You were smiling as I said it. It didn't fit the quote, but I'm going to lie. We got Dave down here saying it's FYF time, baby. What's up, Dave? Shout out Dave from the Toronto area.
What up, Dave?
We got Scott Fish in the chat saying, what's up, guys? Just wanted to drop by with my daily catchphrase. What's going on, bro? Chachos?
Wow, Fish with his famous catchphrase.
The Fish in here every day with the bro Chachos. We got Better Boss in the chat and says that's the #1 scorer in fantasy football in 2023 on the cover, not JL. Justin Fields. Better Boss has been pushing this. He's saying the only people you should draft first overall are named Justin Jefferson or Justin Fields if you're playing in fantasy next year.
We got Justin Herbert included in that, or
no? I guess you could just draft him. Or are there any other Justins in the NFL?
Justin
Time
Tucker.
for dinner. Justin Tucker, first overall.
Yeah. Aren't you in a league? Someone takes Tucker first overall every year?
I am. That is true. Yeah. Shout out Andres.
We got Dustin in the chat. 1 letter off from being first overall draft pick eligible. So let's go. Great way to end Monday at work. # Team Joey. Welcome in, Dustin.
Whoa, thank you.
Is hyped to have Rick in here. We got Jay in here. What's up, Albert? Welcome in, my friend. And our favorite chat cat, Mr. Scampers, in here.
Meow. Meow.
Very good.
Oh,
Rick,
that was
Want
beautiful.
to say hello to Mr. Scampers?
What was that? Did I miss something?
Oh, I was just seeing if you also wanted to meow.
Oh, meow.
Perfect. Thank you. From all 4 of us. And you have to show up with the best meow out of all of us.
A wet quartet.
Well, guys, today we brought Rick here to play a game that we call Fantasy Fortune. He's going to go head to head against JL and Joey. That means I'm going to be asking the questions. I'm going to explain how this works, but before we do that, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you are not following our friend Rick, you need to go and fix that right now. He's on Twitter at RotoHeatRick, and check out what they're creating over at RotoHeat.com. After you do that, head on back over here. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, thank you so much. Go and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to make sure you don't miss. Oh, I forgot how words worked there for a second. That you don't miss the Fantasy Football Game Show at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, our new old time, every day, Monday through Friday, right here, right now. Let's go.
Don't miss it.
Guys, the game we're playing today is called Fantasy Fortune. If you've ever seen the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune, this is going to look very similar, but of course, we've got our NFL or fantasy football twist to add to it. Instead of spinning a wheel, contestants are going to be answering 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia questions. On your turn, I'll ask you a question, something like, who scored more fantasy points last year? Bob Smith or Justin Jones? You'll give your answer. If you are correct, you're going to get to guess a letter that you think appears in the puzzle. For every instance of it that shows up, you'll add $500 to your round bank. Now, you can do this up to 3 times in a row. That is question correct, consonant correct. If at any point either of those things is incorrect, your turn is automatically over. Or if you get 3 in a row correct, your turn is going to be over. Good news, though, you will bank all of that money. So if you keep nailing the trivia but can't solve the puzzle, you're still going to move that money from your round bank to your total bank. Now, on your turn, there are 2 other actions you can choose to take at any time before a question has been asked. That is, you can choose to buy a vowel as long as you have $500 in your round bank. They're going to cost $100 per instance they show up to a max of $500. Or you can choose to solve the puzzle. Solving the puzzle will earn you $1,000 into your total bank or the amounts in your round bank, whichever one is higher. Not 1,000 plus. It's an either or scenario here. We will go in turn order until we run out of puzzles or run out of time, at which point the person with the most money is our Fantasy Fortune champion. If you send us your facts, we'll get you that Kohl's Cash crisp within 48 business hours.
48 business hours. That was a business hour.
So how many business days is that? Is that 6? 6
So
business days?
A business,
business
hour
minute?
is from like 9 to 5, right? So a business
Yeah.
day is 8 hours. So 48 business hours would be, who knows?
Can I borrow a business second of your time?
Approximately 6 business days would be 48 business hours.
There you go. Approximately. I like this system we've constructed.
We don't know when it's getting to you. It'll just get there.
Okay. Well, this first puzzle, just like business hours, there are no rules. This is going to be a toss-up instead of all of the other rules that I just said. I'm going to just slowly reveal letters for the player that is showing up here. Whenever you think you know who it is, just say your name. If you get it right, you're going to add $500 to your round bank, and you get to go first in our first normal puzzle. You guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Let's do it. Also, we got Dame in the chat ready for
Dame.
today's show. What's up,
Dame.
Dame? Welcome in. Welcome in. And Scott Fish wants to know, who is Simon's least favorite chat cat?
Ooh, that's a good question.
We all know.
Mrs. Scampers.
No.
Ooh, this is about to get spicy.
I
All
heard
right.
what she said about her.
What do you
Here we
say?
go, guys. Here is
I
your
can't see it
first
on there.
puzzle.
Oh,
I'm going to slowly reveal letters. Whenever you think you know who it is, say your name. Get it right. You'll add 500. Here we go.
JL.
Joey.
I heard JL first. JL, who is this player?
Justin Herbert.
I'm sorry, JL. That is incorrect, which means we will keep going. I will keep revealing letters.
Rick.
Joey.
I heard Rick first, which means Rick.
Khalil Herbert.
This is
But-
Khalil
oh,
That
Herbert. Rick.
is tricky.
Which means that is
That was
Dang.
tricky because I was on Justin first too.
I didn't even realize how tricky it was, but I'm going to pretend like that trick was on purpose.
I stopped it at the worst time. If I had waited one more letter,
Yeah.
I would
Right.
have seen that. But dang, like I got
Rick, I wanted to ask you about Khalil Herbert before we move on. We've seen flashes from him whenever he's gotten the starting job. They did add some competition for him there in the backfield. But do you think Khalil Herbert's going to be the most fantasy relevant back in Chicago this year?
I think it's tough. Up until the draft, I thought so. I think that Roschon Johnson has a very good shot of becoming the lead back with being able to do both things really well. And he's a good pass blocker, which Khalil Herbert has not been. So I think this year may be a little muddied with the 3 running backs there. I think they're all capable, but I think Roschon probably second half of the season, similar to how we've seen Justin or J.K. Dobbins in his rookie year, take over towards the second half of the season and other rookie running backs. I think we're going to see something similar with Roschon Johnson.
Joey, I saw you nodding along. Do you have height for Roschon Johnson as well?
I do, but I don't think it stops at Roschon Johnson with Khalil Herbert. I mean, I think Donta Foreman is still awesome as a goal line back. Give him the ball. He's a big honking guy. He's going to get in there. So, sorry, that sounded a little spicy. No, but I mean, this backfield is so muddled. And let's remember, this is a quarterback with his run first with Justin Fields. So he's going to be taking all that rushing upside away from them because he's probably going to end up with the most rushing yards on this team next year.
If someone's a big honking guy, what's a little guy? A little beeping guy? A big honker and a little beeper? just running around there. I want to see that on somebody's draft profile. Like
Big
great in
honky
space,
guy.
makes clean cuts, big honking guy.
Big honking guy.
Good on the goal line. The chat was on this one. And when I say the chat, I mean not most of them. Dustin got Khalil Herbert, but we had Justin Shorter come in for Mr. Scampers.
Justin Shorter.
Dustin gets Najee Harris, and Scampers
Oh.
thought for sure they had it with Justin Shorter. Scott Fish agreeing with you guys there. Rick saying Roschon Johnson may be the starter. Yes, Rick.
Is that a Justin Long joke?
What,
Justin Shorter?
Just it would just be Justin
Dude,
Short, right?
I wish
That's
I
what I
wish
think.
Justin Long was still doing more stuff. I was
Yeah, we
always
should
a
ask
fan of
him.
his.
Come on,
He's-
Justin.
He's in a
Do-
movie that
do
was-
more
came out
stuff.
last year that's really good, but I can't say what it is because it's kind of a spoiler that he's in it. But just go watch every movie that came out last year and one of them. And his part's really good.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it. So you have to tell me after the show.
Joey,
I
what
will.
you should do is give a list of 5 movies
Okay.
that are all good and worth watching. You don't have to do it right now, but I mean,
Okay.
like provide a list, and he's in one of those 5. That way,
And that
we
way
can watch all
everyone will
5
watch
of them.
5 good movies.
You watch
Fine.
5
Joey,
good movies,
Joey,
and
was
then
he an
do one of them.
agent
Um,
or a lawyer or something like that?
Did he have a
was-
profession?
in Hollywood? Yes.
Yeah,
His
yeah, yeah.
character
Okay,
was-
so I know what
yeah.
you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Okay,
All
yeah.
right.
But how great was he in that, right?
Oh, I've always liked him. I've always thought he was great. Except
Long.
it's one of my favorite comedies.
I hope you two are talking about different movies right now.
that would be funny.
Justin Long, you're welcome on this show anytime.
Anytime,
If
yeah.
you're watching right now, just throw a comment in the chat. We'll send you the link. You can come on up and play with us.
I wonder if
Please
he's
have
still
me
doing his
back for that.
podcast.
All right. Well, Rick, you got that one right, which means you're going to have $500 and an early lead in this one. As we move on to puzzle number 2, this one's going to follow all of the rules that I previously stated. And I'm looking at this, and now I remember what it says. This is rhyme time. So this is going to be a puzzle that rhymes. We've had playing clarinet with Jacoby Brissett or drinking soda with Marcus Mariota. So it'll have a player name and it'll probably rhyme. It'll definitely rhyme. It will 100% rhyme.
You son of a bitch. This doesn't rhyme.
What if I just made the category rhyme time? All right. Well, Rick, you got that one right, which means you get to go first on this puzzle. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I will definitely take a question.
Did you just add a letter?
Before you do that, I'd say Justin Long in here. With a picture of Scott Fish. What's up, guys?
That's awesome. That's
I forgot to
awesome.
change the avatar.
What up, Justin?
What up, Justin Long?
You gonna
Justin,
haircut?
you were great in.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, Rick, here is your first question in today's game. What I want to know is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points? And going forward, if I don't say it, all fantasy point questions will be PPR. Who had more PPR fantasy points last year? Was it Brandon Ayuk or was it Jacoby Myers?
Man, Ayuk was really, really good down the stretch. I'm going to go with Ayuk. I'm not real confident, though.
Well, you would be real right. Rick, which letter would you like?
I will take an S.
An S. There are
Or hopefully more than
2,
that.
3, 4, 5 S's in this puzzle, Rick. An early 2,500 into your round bank. Now
Well
you have
done.
more options open to you. Would you like to solve? Would you like to buy a vowel? Or would you like another question? Also, Scampers reminded me down there, out of the chat, if you guys are playing Joey, Rick, and Jay, I'll make sure you guys are out of the comments so you can either full screen it or click on another, whatever you want.
Chat's
Yeah,
too
I don't
quick.
read the chat.
And everybody in the chat, play along. 30 answers down there.
I'll take another question.
Okay, another question for Rick. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Drake London or was it Chris Godwin?
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I'll go with a T.
A T. There's one T in this puzzle.
Like I said, one T.
Gonna add 500. Rick, your options remain the same. You can buy a vowel. You can go on to your third and final question.
Another
Or
question.
you can solve the puzzle. Third and final question. Here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Dalvin Cook or was it David Montgomery?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook is correct by about 60 PPR fantasy points. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I'll go with an R.
An R. There is one R
Wow.
in this puzzle.
Wow.
Good thing I
Rick.
picked S first.
You're going to have about 5 seconds to solve. Otherwise, we are going to move on to Joey.
Go ahead and move on. I don't know it.
We are going to move on just in case a stroke of genius hit. I gave you the full 5 seconds.
Yeah. I'm
Joey.
not a genius.
Rick is going to bank $3,500, bringing him up to 4,000. Got an early lead, but it's your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to try to get out of this hole, Simon.
Okay. Well, here's your first question. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Michael Pittman Jr. or was it Mike Williams?
Michael Pittman Jr.
That would be correct. Which letter would you like, Joseph?
And
And as in, no, you don't.
yes, I do.
Okay, well, there's 3 of those. Joey gonna have 1,500 to your round bank. What's the move? Huh?
I want to buy an O.
Okay. There are 2 O's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200.
I'll take a question, please.
Okay. Here's my question for you, Joey. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Chris Olave or was it Christian Watson?
Chris Olave or Christian Watson? Oh man. Watson had those touchdowns, which were nice. I'm still gonna go Olave though.
And you would still be right, Joey. Nice job breaking that one down. Which letter would you like?
L.
L is in loser.
Oh yeah. I think I should have gone somewhere else.
There's
Okay.
one L in this puzzle, Joey. Gonna add 500.
Okay.
Your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so, because we're moving into your third and final question.
I'm gonna take a question. I
Okay.
don't want to yell too much.
Okay, Joey. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Rashad White or was it Jerick McKinnon?
Jerick McKinnon.
Jerick McKinnon is correct, Joey. Which letter would you like?
You scared me. I'll take
you add all this money.
I'm gonna take a C.
There are 2 C's in this puzzle. Going to add another grand. Joey, you're going to add 2,800 to your total bank. But you got 5 seconds to solve.
Sinning, litter, incision, soups, circumcision. I don't know.
Joey, that is correct.
Yes.
JL, we are moving on to you. Joey did reveal that the last word is an alternate spelling of circumcision, but besides
like a
that,
doctor.
the rest of the
I
puzzle is
abbreviate.
unsolved.
I know part of it, but I don't have it all. So I need a question.
Okay, my question for you is: who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Tyler Boyd or was it T. Higgins?
Higgins.
Higgins is correct by about 50 PPR fantasy points. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with a. Let's go with an. What is left? I can't see what's left.
B, D,
Let's go
F,
with-
G, H, J, K.
Oh, all right. I got it now. Let's go with a. Let's go with a G.
A G. There's 1 G in this puzzle, Jay. I'm going to add 500. What would you like to do now?
I will take another question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Brandon Cooks or was it Curtis Samuel?
Ooh, let's go with Cooks.
I'm sorry, JL. It was Curtis Samuel, which means we are moving back to Mr. Butts. Rick, what would you like to do here? Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question, please.
Okay. Who Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it KJ Osborne or was it Alec Pierce?
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne is correct. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I would like to go with a K.
There are 2 Ks in this puzzle. Going to add a grand to your round bank. You can buy a vowel. You can take another question. Or you can solve.
I will take another question.
Okay. Here's your next question. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it CeeDee Lamb or was it, was it CeeDee Lamb or was it Joe Mixon?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is correct. Nice job, Rick. Which letter would you like?
I'll go with an H.
An H. There are 2 H's in this puzzle, adding another grand. You can buy a vowel, you can solve, or you can move on to your third and final question.
Oh, I got it. Son of a
Yeah,
gun.
I'm so close. I'm gonna buy an I.
An I. There are 2 I's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200. Your options remain the same, Rick.
I'll take another question.
Okay. Third question. Here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Jamal Williams or was it Juju Smith-Schuster?
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is correct. Which letter would you like? Get this right. You're going to bank this money.
I'm gonna go with M.
M. There is 1 M in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Rick, you're going to bank all 2,300 of that,
God.
bringing your total up to 6,300 before the first puzzle is off the board. You've got 5 seconds to solve before I move on to Joey.
Asking Lamar Jackson if he shows at. Oh, I can't get the last word.
I am going to move on to Joey now. Joey,
Pass
would
it
you
to
like
me,
to
Joey.
solve?
Pass it to
Would you
me.
like a question or would you like to quit?
I was really hoping that last word was flaccid, but I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you is who scored more PPR fantasy points last season, Joey? Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Alan Lazard or was it George Kittle?
Alan Lazard.
I'm sorry, by about 30 points. It was
No.
George Kittle.
I don't
which
believe
means we are on to John Luke. Jail, I'm guessing you would like to solve.
Yes, please. Asking Lamar Jackson if he shops at PacSun.
This is asking Lamar Jackson if he shops at PacSun. That is correct, Jail. Going to add 1K to your bank,
Nice.
That's a silly puzzle, but I like it.
putting you on the board in the chat. Mr. Scampers was the first one in here to get it. Asking
Scampers.
Lamar Jackson if he shops at PacSun, and Scottfish
Sneaky
coming
cat.
in with "Dear Lord" on that one. Grim Fan also came in and got that one right. And Tim thinks it was a stroke of genius to rhyme Axon with Axon.
Jackson.
Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
Some
And
of your best
Scottfish
work.
came in. You're saying this one is so obvious. I've known the answer ever since Mr. Scampers typed it in the chat.
Great job, Scampers.
Nailed it, Scampers. All right. Well, before we move on from this puzzle, Rick, first of all, what a lead you garnered there. That might be the most dominant first puzzle performance we have seen. You're up 6,300 to 2,800 to 1,000. But I did want to ask you what you think the Ravens offense is going to look like this year. It's been a topic of conversation here on the show on how much it's going to change with the new OC, with Lamar Jackson coming back.
Well, I think the first obvious thing is you want to try to protect Lamar Jackson, and they went out and they got him some more weapons. I think it's the best receiving core that they've had since he came into the league, as long as everybody stays healthy. So I think they're definitely going to try to throw more and keep him out of harm's way as much as possible after giving him that contract. And there's no reason why he can't get back to that MVP level with the weapons that he has on that team.
Yeah. I think we're generally excited there. Joey, do you echo the excitement for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited about the addition of Zay Flowers in this offense. I'm a little sad that his ADP is now past Rashad Bateman because I was really enjoying getting Zay Flowers after Rashad Bateman, but it seems like those two have flip flop now, which I think for good reason. I think Zay Flowers could end up being the wide receiver one on this team. I still think Andrews will probably lead the team in targets, but yeah, they're doing what they need to do to keep Lamar happy for one with the contract and then getting us some weapons. So I agree with Rick.
In jail, does it feel good as a Ravens fan to just have everyone say such nice things about the Ravens over and over
It
again?
really does. I did not like that period of time where people were saying mean things about us.
I know it was
This is
tough
much
there for
better.
a minute, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
this is way better. I like people saying how they wish they had what we had. I don't like the other way around.
No,
And Poe is healthy too, so that's important.
Yeah.
his ACL is healed.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the ACL? Wasn't it like multiple ligaments that Poe injured? Like
I
it was
don't
a
know if
pretty
Ravens
serious.
have ACLs.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty fragile bird. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Poe needs to get some squats in before the season starts. Get that strength and conditioning coach to Poe's birdhouse. Also, we got Better Boss in the chat saying, "What is a PacSun?" It is a clothing store where I bought every Volcom t-shirt that they released from 2007 to 2009, and now I buy pants from occasionally.
PacSun is life.
PacSun fed my teen angst once I thought I was too cool for like Aeropostale.
No, feeded was right.
It was like I was at the mall and I was like, I'm way too cool for Aeropostale. Go out, walk 10 feet, walk into PacSun. Like it's 10 feet
PacSun's
away.
way more my speed.
Yeah, now this is where the cool kids are.
Mom, pick me up at the Haagen-Dazs.
All right, you guys ready for the next puzzle?
Yeah.
Let's get in there. This next category is called NFL cities. These are cities where NFL teams are. We've got 3 of them there. You're just gonna have to say them in order whenever you
Official
know what
or unofficial?
in the team name.
Okay.
Like these are, it'll say it before the team name starts.
Aye, Cat.
All right. The person who solved that last puzzle was
JL.
Hey.
John Luke, which means Rick, you're going first on this one. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this?
I would like a question.
Okay. A question for you is moving on over to some receiving stats. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Jerry Jeudy or was it Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk.
100% stays consistent. Rick, it was Christian Kirk. Which letter would you like?
I will take D.
D. There are no D's
right.
in this puzzle. Rick, you are not getting the D on
D-less.
today's show. We are a D-less puzzle here. Joey?
All right, I've always wanted to try to do this. I'm gonna try doing no letter solve.
Okay.
Cincinnati, Houston, Cleveland.
Joey.
Oh,
Which means we are moving on to JL.
I wanted the
John
glory.
I didn't know if I wanted you
Would've
to
been
get that
sweet.
or wanted you to whiff. I was
Also,
so split.
That was way louder than I intended it to be. Sorry to
So
everyone in the
loud.
theaters out there.
What'd you say?
John Luke, you're up. Would you like to
All
solve or
right.
would you like a question?
I need a question.
Also, I hope you guys are out of the chat because I'm realizing the number of cities that could fit in these blanks is really high. Dale, my question for you is who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Devonta Smith or was it Michael Pittman Jr.?
Pittman Jr.
I'm sorry, it was Devonta Smith. Which means we are back to Rick. Rick, would you like a question?
Yeah, please.
Okay. My question for you is who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Terry McLaurin or was it DJ Moore?
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin is correct. Which letter would you like, Rick?
This time I'm gonna go with N.
N as in no way. There's no N's up here. There's 4 N's in this puzzle. I'm going to add 2,000 to your round bank, Rick. Which means, would you like another question? Would you like to buy a vowel or would you like to solve?
I'll take another question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards? Was it Christian McCaffrey or was it Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll go with Christian McCaffrey.
I'm sorry, Rick. It was Donovan Peoples-Jones by about 100 yards. That one was tricky for sure. Joey, we are on to you. Would you like to solve?
I want to do it again, but I'm going to take a question.
Okay.
I think I have it though. I think I do have it, but I'm going to double check first. Go ahead.
Joey, who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it David Njoku or was it Adam Thielen?
I'll go with Adam Thielen still.
Adam Thielen by about 100 would be correct, Joey. Nice job. Which letter would you like?
I'll take the C.
Okay. There are 2 C's in this puzzle.
Okay.
Going to add $1,000. What do you want to do now?
I'd like to buy an O.
Okay.
Wait, no. Okay.
Sorry, Joey. I had clicked the O. We're going to count that 3
Okay.
O's. Subtracts 300.
I will solve now.
Okay.
Cincinnati, Houston, Baltimore.
That is absolutely correct, Joey. Cincinnati, Houston, Baltimore, not Cleveland on that last one.
Nice.
You're going to add $1,000 to your score, bringing you up to 3,800. And the chat was,
If I would have just known.
they were all over the place for a while there. We had Los Angeles, Detroit. We had Pittsburgh without the G. We had Pittsburgh, Chicago. We had not Detroit. Then Scott Fish coming in and saying Cleveland has a D, Joey.
I realized that afterwards.
Scott Fish said Cincinnati, Houston, Pittsburgh. Scamper said Tallahassee, Oslo, and Fort Worth. And then Tim said Simon would definitely put Atlanta. Dustin came in saying last one could be Minnesota. And Scott Fish said, Dustin, Minnesota isn't a city. Jay said, is Minnesota even a real place? And Dave said,
they just get deeper and deeper.
Greater Toronto area. And then Tim said, Cincy, Houston, Miami. And then a consensus around Baltimore came all together, and everyone came together with all of the Baltimores.
We all came to Baltimore.
We all came to Baltimore, and Grim tying it all together with Cincinnati, Houston, Baltimore. I was trying to keep it together throughout that. And they were making it really hard. The chat was just on their own planet. None of you guys could see what was going on. You guys ready for that next puzzle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we are going to pull up this one. This is a president-player mashup. So this is going to be a U.S. president and an NFL player smushed together in some way or another. You just got to tell me exactly what's written on the screen. And who got that last one right?
Joey
did, which means JL, you are up first.
My turn.
John Luke, would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question, please.
Okay. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Dameon Pierce or was it Justin Fields?
Ooh, Fields.
Fields is correct, though. Both killed it last year. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with a W.
A W.
Bonk.
There are no W's in this puzzle.
I thought that too.
Rick, would you like a question?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Ramondre Stevenson or was it Devin Singletary?
Ramondre.
Ramondre is correct. Which letter would you like?
I'll take a T.
A T. There are no T's in this puzzle either. It means, Joey, we are on to you.
Question.
Okay.
No W's,
Question.
no T's.
Yeah.
What's next? No F's?
I know.
Joey, who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Brian Robinson Jr. or was it Rachaad White?
Brian Robinson.
That is absolutely correct, Joey. Which letter would you like?
I'll take an M.
An
Is it
M.
letter?
There's one M in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your round bank. What's next? Huh?
That was a little aggressive. And
Sorry,
then you had to
Mike.
leave the show.
It's
You were so rude.
peek behind the curtain. I have a wedgie.
Let me pick it for you. Here. I'll take another question.
And he's
Is that-
back.
Yep,
Didn't give me a whole lot.
unwedged. A lot more comfortable. Things are breathing freely now. Joey, my question for you is who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Cam Akers or was it Deonta Foreman?
I'm just gonna go with my heart, Deonta Foreman.
And your heart is correct, Joey. Which letter
Yeah.
would you like?
I want to go with an R.
An R. There are 2 R's in this
Okay.
puzzle. Going to add another 1,000, Joey. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this turn before we move on to JL.
Question, please.
Okay, here it is. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Najee Harris or was it Ezekiel Elliott?
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris is correct, Joey. Which letter would you like?
C.
C. There's 1 C.
Right, I'll take it.
in
I'll
this
take it.
Puzzle. Going to add another 500, Joey. You got 5 seconds to solve.
Roomba Coke Rack.
Roomba Coke Rack is incorrect, which means JL.
Coke.
We're moving on.
Coke
dude.
Rack. I
Coke
don't
Rack, like
condone-
we all
I don't
said.
condone the use of cocaine
Cool.
while working.
Your Coke Rack. When I was in line at for the bathroom at
This'll
the
be good.
XFL championship, and the line was very long, and the people in the stalls were taking forever. And the guy in front of me, I could tell, was like pretty antsy, and I thought he also really had to pee. And I was like, "Man, they're taking forever, aren't they?" And he turns around and looks at me. He goes, "I'm just trying to do a line, bro." And then turns back around.
That was
like-
Chad Kelly.
That was Chad Kelly. All right. Well, Joey, it is
Yeah.
your turn, I believe.
Nope,
No,
it's not.
It's JL's.
I get to
turn.
bank that money.
You do get to bank that money.
Here
$2,000.
I come,
in your
Rick.
bank.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Uh-oh. It's a game.
Game of heavy hitters and me.
Yeah, but you always cheat, so you'll get back in it.
Not well.
And
I'll take a
handsome
question.
hitter. Well, handsome hitter. Your turn. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Tyler Algier or was it Devin Singletary?
Algier.
Algier is correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an N, as in no ends.
There are 2 N's in this puzzle. Going to add a grand to your round bank. What's the move, Mr. John Luke?
Don't call me that. Let's go with another question.
Okay. Here's your next question, JL. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards? Was it Lamar Jackson or was it Kenyon Drake?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an. Oh, what's left in here? So we got a. Well, let's go with an S.
An S?
Sure.
There are no S's in this puzzle, meaning we're moving on to Rick. Rick, would you like a question? Would you like to solve? Or those are your options?
I will take a question.
Okay. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it James Cook or was it AJ Dillon?
AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon is correct. Which letter would you like?
I'll go with L.
L. There are 3 L's
There we
in
go.
this puzzle. Going to add 15.
Oh my, this is so dumb. So dumb.
Rick, would you like another
Oh, I
question? Would
got
you
it.
like to buy a vowel or would you like to solve?
Well, I wish I could solve, but I'll buy an O.
Okay. There is 1 O in this puzzle.
Oh,
Going to
cool.
subtract 100. Your
Thanks.
options remain the same.
You're so dumb.
I'll take another question.
Okay,
Okay.
here's my question for you: is who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Daniel Jones or was it Raheem Mostert?
Mostert.
Mostert is correct. Which letter would you like, Rick?
Oh, now I have no freaking idea. I'll go with D.
D. I am sorry, there are no D's in this puzzle, which means Joey, we are on to you. Would you like to solve? Would you like a question?
I want to solve, but I'm afraid I'm going to mispronounce it. Okay. KJ Abrahamler Lincoln.
This is KJ Abrahamler Lincoln. Joey, that is absolutely correct. You're going to earn
Wow.
$1,000 for solving that
Abraham
one.
Did Jack get this one?
The chat got this way too early. Dustin came in and said KJ Abrahamlin Lincoln, and then came in and said, sorry, KJ Abrahamlin Lincoln. Came in and got it. And that was about 4 minutes ago. So nice job on that one, Dustin.
Simon.
Jeez.
Abrahamler is a name, a combination I never knew that I needed in my life, but it makes me so
Abrahamler.
happy. Abrahamler. Oh, goodness.
Grim down here getting KJ Abrahamler Lincoln as well. And Dustin says he wants to name his next pet Abrahamler, but only if it's a potbelly pig. Also,
I don't know if I could read that.
Adam coming in here saying it sounds like the Hamburglar's accountant brother.
Abrahamler.
Abrahamler. He's the boring one at the family reunion. Scamper said Abrahamster Lincoln. Yeah, there's another good one. We got Pang in the chat. What's up, Pang? Welcome.
What up,
in.
Bang?
Good seeing you
Welcome.
on Friday, buddy.
Glad to have it.
Scott Fish asking, what is Simon's favorite NFL team? It's the Browns.
The
Cleveland.
Browns.
Yep.
Really excited about it.
Really excited.
All right, well, guys, are you ready for your next puzzle? Rick,
Mhm.
Joey has taken the lead by
Yeah, I know,
solving
man. The
that one.
ultimate collapse.
All right, we got time for at least one more. We'll throw. Which one do we want to throw up there
This
next?
is anybody's game.
Movie mashup.
It is
Movie mashup.
anybody's game. The next one is head coach first names.
Oh, God.
These are just the first names of NFL head coaches. You don't have to read them to me in any specific order, just as long as you get all of the names that are up there. Joey solved that one, which means JL,
Yep.
you are up first.
Great question.
Okay. John Luke, who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Kenneth Walker or was it Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
Oh, let's go with an N.
Our two ends in this puzzle going to add $1,000. What would you like to do next?
This looks like art that you've created. It looks like the pie. Some sort of pie art you got going on here.
You knew I love pie.
I know you love pie. I'll take another question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more rushing touchdowns last season? Who had more rushing touchdowns? Was it Cordero Patterson or was it Alexander Madison?
Madison.
I'm sorry, Dale. It was Patterson. Patterson
Wow.
had 8 to Madison's 5. 8 rushing touchdowns for Patterson last year.
Is he the only one that scored touchdowns on that team?
I think so. And I think they must have credited him for one he scored for another team in disguise or something because I don't remember
Wow.
8 touchdowns from the Falcons last year.
Right?
The
Well.
chat's cracking me up with this one. Rick, we are on to you. Are you ready for your next question or would you like to solve this?
I'll take a question, please.
Hey, who had more rushing touchdowns last season? Who had more rushing touchdowns last season? Was it Josh Allen or was it Kenyon Drake?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's correct with 7 to Kenyon Drake's 4. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I'll go with C.
C. There's one C in this puzzle. Going to add 500. You can buy a vowel or you can take another question.
Take another question.
Okay. My question for you is who had more rushing touchdowns last year? Who had more rushing touchdowns last year? Was it Ezekiel Elliott or was it Daniel Jones?
Zeke.
Zeke had 12 to Daniel Jones 7. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I am going to go with K.
And there is 1K in this puzzle. Going to add 500. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so, or we can move on to your third and final question, or you can solve.
I'll take another question.
Okay. Here's my question for you. Who had more receiving touchdowns last season? Who had more receiving touchdowns? Was it A.J. Brown or was it Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek.
I'm sorry, Rick. It was A.J. Brown with 11
That
to
was a good
Tyreek
one.
7,
Dang.
which means, Joey, we are on to you. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve or would you like to – that's it.
Question.
Not options.
Question, please.
Okay. Who had more receiving touchdowns last year? Who had more receiving touchdowns? Was it George Kittle or was it Jalen Waddle?
Jalen Waddle.
I'm sorry. It was George Kittle with 11 to Jalen Waddle's 8, which means, John Luke, we are on to you. Question?
Question.
Okay. My question for you is who had more receiving touchdowns last season? Who had more receiving touchdowns? Was it Amari Cooper or was it Adam Thielen?
Cooper or Thielen receiving touchdowns. Let's go Cooper.
Cooper is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, JL?
Let's go with a. Oh man, let's go with an S.
An S. Well, there's one S in this puzzle. John Luke can add 500.
All right. Can I buy a
First
vowel?
question? That was your first question this time, right?
That was my first one this time. Yeah.
You can buy a vowel.
May I buy an E?
You may buy an E. There are 3 E's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 300.
Can I buy an I?
You may buy an I. There are 2 I's in here. Going to subtract 200.
I'll get an A too.
Yeah, good an A. There's 3 A's in here, and there are no more vowels.
I would like to solve.
Okay, say it how the names are.
Brian, Sean, Shane, Nick, and Kyle.
Brian, Sean, Shane, Nick, and Kyle, come on
Good job, Joe.
down.
Thanks.
Good job. Good job.
Nice job, Joe. That's going to earn you $1,000 for correctly solving that puzzle.
Just does nothing for the game. Just does absolutely nothing.
I'm just
It does
glad
for
you
me.
got it, and not Joey.
Yeah, it helps Rick not pass me.
That's true. I just buried some points.
There could be a lot of letters on this next one. You could.
When you scroll through the names of head coaches, it's like Todd,
Mike,
Sean,
Mike,
Sean,
Mike,
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 Matt,
Mike,
Matt, Mike, Sean. There's like 3 Seans, then a Shane, 3 Seans, a Shane, a Matt,
53
a Matt,
Mikes.
a Mike, and 4 Todds.
Sounds like a good weekend.
Someone should do like a histogram of NFL head coach first names over time.
Yeah.
Here you go. We had scampers come in with Mike, Todd, and Bill. Also
Bill.
Shane and Sean. We had John, and John, and Nick. Then Todd, and Todd. Olaf as a guest. Brian, Frank, Nick, and Kyle. Shane, Nick, and Kyle. Brian, Frank, Nick, and Kyle. Brian or Kevin. Lots of good names, guys. You guys know all sorts of names that fit into those
so
letters.
proud of you
Good
guys.
job. All right, well,
Matthew, Luke, and John. Yeah.
we got time for one more puzzle here.
Ooh,
We got time for one more puzzle here.
do it.
This is a band player mashup. So similar to the president player mashup, this is going to be a band and a player mashed together with. These mashups have varying degree of creative freedom when attached to them. And I'm just gonna
Great.
say that.
Love that qualifier.
I feel real good now.
All right. So JL solved that one, which means Rick, you are up first on this puzzle. Would you like a question?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. My question for you, Rick, back to some PPR fantasy points, is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Aaron Jones or was it Travis Etienne Jr.?
ETN.
I'm sorry, it was Aaron Jones. Which means Joey, we are on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Question.
Who had more PPR fantasy points last year? Was it Greg Dortch or was it Mac Hollins?
Dortch.
I'm sorry, it was Mac Hollins.
No,
Let's go
I even
big
said
reason
it
there.
like to connect with you. Like, why would you pick Dortch if it wasn't an answer? Go to jail. This is ridiculous.
JL, would you like a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Noah Brown or was it Darius Slayton?
Who's Noah Brown? Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, John Luke?
T.
There is one T in this puzzle. Going to add 500. You can buy a vowel or you cannot.
Not.
You want another question?
Yes, please.
Okay, John Luke, my question for you is which of these players has better odds to have the most total passing yards next season, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook? Which of these players has odds to have the most total passing yards next season? Is it Tua Tagovailoa or is it Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
I'm sorry, it is Tua. Tua at plus 1,200 to Aaron Rodgers at plus 2,100, which means, Rick, we are on to you. Would you like a question?
Yes, please.
Which of these players has better odds to lead the league in total passing yards next year, according to FanDuel Sportsbook? Is it Kirk Cousins or is it Matthew Stafford?
Cousins?
Cousins is absolutely correct. Fourth on that list at plus 950. Which letter would you like, Rick?
I will go with S.
An S. There's one S in this puzzle. Going to add 500.
I'm nervous because I feel like Joey has a good idea what it is.
I have three of the words, and I can't figure out what he's doing with one of them.
I'll take another question.
All right. Here's your question, Rick. Which of these players had more passing yards last season? Which of these players had more passing yards last season? Was it Tom Brady or was it Jalen Hurts?
Brady.
Brady is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
Try R.
There are 3 R's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500. Rick, this is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so.
I'll take another question because I have no idea.
Okay. Who had more passing yards last season? Who had more passing yards last season? Was it Daniel Jones or was it Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers.
Rodgers is correct. Which letter would you like?
D.
B. There is one D in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Rick, you're going to bank this money. But you got 5 seconds to solve.
Rad. Something. No idea.
We're going to move on to Joey, but Rick, you got the lead back.
Yeah.
And I have the
take a
hiccups.
question. Yeah. I have to take a question, even if I knew what it was.
Well, Joey, who had more passing yards last season? Who had more passing yards last season? Was it Mac Jones or was it Kyler Murray?
What was the stat?
Passing yards.
Oh, my God. Mac Jones?
Mac Jones is correct, Joey. Nice job. Which letter would you like?
P.
P. There's one P in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like another question? Or would you like to solve?
It's a question. You've now puzzled me.
All right. Well, Joey, my question for you is who threw more passing touchdowns last season? Who threw more passing touchdowns last year? Was it Jared Goff or was it Dak Prescott?
I know exactly how many Goff threw. I'm going to say Goff.
Goff is correct. 29 to 23. Which letter would you like, Joey?
H?
H. There's one H in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Your options remain the same. You can buy a vowel. You can take another question. You can solve.
Oh, man, this stinks because I got to take a question. And I can't pass Rick, so I'm just going to take question.
Okay, my question for you, Joey, is who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Gabe Davis or was it DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm sorry, it was
No,
Gabe Davis.
I refuse to believe that.
That means we are on to JL's
Uh-oh.
turn. JL, would you like a question or would you like to solve? Or would you like to buy a vowel?
I need all right, I'll buy that. So I
Which
need,
one? An E?
yeah.
Well, there are two E's in this puzzle. Now you can only buy a question or solve.
Question.
And you don't even have to buy it, actually. I lied. It's free. Which of these players scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Marquez Valdez-Scantling or was it Joshua Palmer?
Palmer.
Palmer is correct. Which letter would you like, Gail?
Let's go with a C.
C. There is one C in this puzzle. Can add 500. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like to take a question? Or would you like to solve this puzzle?
So dumb.
Let's buy an O.
An O. There are 3 O's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 300.
This is a stretch.
And I would like to solve
Okay.
No.
Say it exactly as it is.
Red Hot Amari Coopers.
This is the red hot Amari Coopers. That is 100% right, JL.
It's not a matchup.
This is like,
It sounds about the same.
The whole time I was thinking like mixed words, like Abraham, whatever the hell that was.
This is like an approximate mashup.
Scott Fishing here got it first. Red hot Amari Coopers. Nice job. And Dustin said, that's it. If you leave half the band name off.
yeah.
Red Hot Amari Cooper sounds like a great show in Vegas.
The red hot Amari Coopers.
Yeah.
Grim fan in here saying a final answer. Got that one as well. Nice job, guys. And Tim with the red hot Harry Poopers.
Harry Poopers.
He's
Well,
too many talkies. That doesn't happen.
That is going to add $1,000 to your score, bringing you up to 3,000. But Rick, with the trivia at the end, you have pulled off the victory, 8,800 to 6,800 to 3,000. Congratulations,
I
my
tripped
friend.
Joey for you.
Thank you. At least I'm good at answering the questions because I'm not good at solving the puzzles. When I'm watching, it's a lot easier. I freeze when I get on here. My brain don't work.
It really
And,
helps if you open up the chat and read what they say.
They're so smart. They're so smart.
Damn it.
It's like Scott Fish said. I don't know what took you guys so long. Mr. Scampers put it in the chat hours ago. Everybody watching, if you have not already followed our friend Rick over on Twitter, you need to go and remedy that right now. You can find him on Twitter at RotoHeatRick, and truly check out what they're doing over at rotoheat.com. We love Rick and we love that team. They've always been wildly supportive of us, and they're doing awesome stuff over there at Roto Heat. Facts. And
hey, we love you guys too.
Some of those dudes in the chat, and keep your eyes peeled for a FYFX Roto Heat 2.0 poll perception showdown. Everybody watching, if you have not had your fix of fantasy football for the day yet, we got some good news. It is best ball season, and you can learn more about some winning draft strategies right here on BSN with fantasy football experts of NBC, Sports Illustrated, RotoWire, Fantasy Alarm, and more. The Better Sports Best Ball Invitational is on the Better Sports YouTube right now. So go and check that out. Watch some best ball, draft your own best ball teams, and then get back in here tomorrow to hang out and talk some ball with us. That is going to be it for the Fantasy Football Game Show today. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for more of this fun with all of y'all. Until then, adios, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Where did it go? Jill,
When
did you
can I
delete
stop
it again?
waving? My wrist
Nope.
hurts.